Czajka, and I am an advocate from Warsaw, Poland, and I am also a mediator. And together with me as a co-host.
And hi, my name is Mac Pierre-Louis, a lawyer, mediator, and arbitrator. I work throughout Florida and Texas. And welcome to Legal Talk. And so let's get started. We have a guest today who will be talking to us about being a former client of Natalia's, but specifically dealing with or discussing the issues of being in a contested long-term family dispute. But let Natalia introduce him.
So it is my great pleasure to welcome Ronan Shee, who is my former client and who agreed to be interviewed, because I honestly believe that for our guests and for our viewers, it is important to know what the experience is, not only from the lawyer's point of view, but also from the client point of view. And therefore, Ronan agreed to give some insight into how it felt to be on the other side of the barricade. Welcome, Ronan, and it's great to have you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for agreeing to be with us.
No problem. Very happy to be here. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, go ahead, Natalia.
It's been some time since we finished our long legal ways, which happened to be in Poland. But I thought that you being a person from abroad, you being someone who is actually are now having a different life to the one that was then, and not revealing any client attorney privilege, I wanted to talk about your experience as a person, as a human being. We have been through a lot together, and the parts that were bothering you most when you were going through the family dispute that you were in, can you tell us how it felt to be engaged in a long-lasting family dispute?
I guess to kind of state the obvious, it's very difficult. It's very challenging. You need to have a huge amount of determination, and what you really need to is a lot of support. And I was lucky to have that. Not only with you, Natalia, you were fantastic for me. I mean, I only for you. I hate to think where I would be today. But look, I had a huge amount of support from my family as well. Not everybody is in that situation. But I was very, very lucky to enjoy that support. And there are times when you just feel that there is no end in sight, that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. But you just have to stick with it. You have to stay positive. At the end of the day, you are doing this not for yourself. You're doing it for your child. Me, I had my little boy. He was a year and a half old when I separated with his mother in Poland, in Warsaw, in Poland, and it was a very challenging time. Like I said, what you need is support. You need support and good people in your corner, and thankfully I had both of those things.
Yeah, so Ronan, approximately how long was it from beginning to end did your case span? How many years?
It really, till it kind of came to a conclusion where I felt I had what I needed going forward to ensure my son's relationship with me and my family. It was 3.5 years, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, Natalia, but I think we had 19 court appearances at the time, so about 3.5 years, I believe.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is family law cases, any kind of litigation can be very lengthy, but family law cases can also last a really long time. And sometimes the child is growing through these years. Their formative years are being impacted when they might see parents in conflict. But given your situation and what you experience, what are some, I guess, things you concentrated in and things that you would recommend that other people who might go into something similar concentrate on to make sure that their minds stay sane to the whole process?
Yeah, I guess, you have to put your child central in everything. You have to make sure that they're well. Yes, there was plenty of conflict in the relationship between Antec's mother and I at the time. But really, you just have to try and make sure that they're central to it. hard times when, you're at your lowest, you're very frustrated, but you just have to keep your eye on the ball, as we say here in Ireland. You have to know that what you're doing is for the best. It's the best route to go for your child. I mean, I think you just have to keep your child central to it all.
Having you as a client, Ronan, was actually a fantastic experience. You were just like a perfect client because we communicated very well. We were having very good relationship in terms of what was going on, and even though it didn't save us very difficult moments, which I seem to remember, you were in a totally different moment of your life now. Can you tell us what this entire experience taught you? What are the takeaways that you are going to give other people who might be, just losing hope, thinking, oh, I am in this long dispute, there is not going to be an end to that, and if there is an end, it's not going to end well. What can you say with the perspective of time you are having now?
Yeah, with the perspective of time, Natalia, I have a fantastic relationship with my son. He's now 11 years old. I think he was my big thing at the time, you'll remember, was I have a really good group of friends and family here in Ireland, and I felt I needed to get him to know all these people that were very important to me in my life, because I knew that they would be good people for him in his life as well. Now he travels regular to Ireland to see me, and has done since he's been 5 years old. He spends half his summers here. We have every other holiday. He's one Christmas with his mum. I have him for New Year's. We're lucky in Europe, whereby I guess you can travel quite freely in the European Union as well. What I would say to people that are at their lowest is stick with it. It does get better. You do get results. There were times, Natalia, where I was ready to throw in the towel, but at the end of the day, you have this beautiful little kid there, and you want them, they're part of you, and you want them to be with you. You want them to know where you came from. And thankfully, I can say that, all of those things have happened for me. Antec is 11 now. I'm in a new relationship here. I've just had a daughter 5 weeks ago. So Antec was here a number of weeks ago to see his little sister. I'm actually traveling to Krakow now on Friday. He actually lives in a different area of Poland. He's coming back over here. He's finishing school on Friday. I have a pretty good relationship with his mother now and her new partner, and whereby we celebrate birthdays together. Like Antec had his Holy Communion during the COVID thing. When travel was difficult, all our families sit down together. We have a meal together. We really have put Antec to the forefront, and there is a lot of give and take now with me and his mother. Something that I'm sure, Natalia, you could agree, was something that we probably all felt at one time was not achievable. But what I can say is that time is a great healer. People do get over huge issues, and they do it for their kids. So I would say to people, stick with it. Keep going. Don't throw in the towel, too early. I know sometimes that everybody's circumstances are different, but all I can say is that yes, it took a lot of time. I think, like I said, 19 court appearances, but we certainly got there. I mean, I have a guy who's a great kid. He's known very well over here in my hometown. Speaks 2 languages, travels. He's a kid of the world. I can only say positive things really about my experience, and I'd really have to say a huge thank you to you, Natalia, to be honest, because you kept me going, and like you touched on earlier, I was very lucky to have you in my corner, I must say. And we got some good results for Antec at the end of the day. Yes.
Yes. Well, Ronan, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story. There's so much that can be said on the co-parenting dynamic. Whenever you're in court, parents sometimes don't get along, and when they don't and kids are stuck in the middle, it can be really devastating, especially during these formative years. I mean, 7 to 11, these are extremely important years that your son went through. So, of course, I know that Natalia is a great lawyer. I've personally worked with her in my own cases, and so that definitely helped. But I hope that anybody watching this will take away the positive aspect that if you can do it and you survived and your kid came out okay through the process, and how there was a decoupling that took place. But at the end of the day, your child's mental health was intact and everybody progressed. I hope that people can see that it can work for them as well. So with that, we'll be right back to the next segment. Thanks so much.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Hey, Lily says AT&T is giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Are you ready to talk about all things real estate? Hi, I'm Michelle Briggs, the host of Your Person Real Estate. Join me every Thursday at 5 p.m. and discover everything you should know about the real estate world.
Hello and welcome back after the break, and we are having with us again Ronan Sheehy, an Irishman who agreed to give his client perspective into what happens when you are going through a long family dispute. That was the first topic we had today, but we are wanting to also show it the client experience when you are going through a long international court dispute. That involves a lot of things, a lot of burden, a lot of costs, and because Ronan has been through that personally, I think he, with his own experience, can show what it is and why sometimes avoiding a legal dispute and going through a mediation is a better way to do it. Ronan, welcome again. Can we please have you? Yes.
Yeah.
So, Ronan, tell us the basics of what your experience was like when you went through a long-distance family law disputes through the courts. A lot of times we call these Hague Convention cases, child relocation cases, cases that involve children being taken across state borders to another country, sometimes a country the child doesn't even know. Sometimes because a parent just wants to disappear with a child and abscond with a child. These things can be very traumatic. But how was your basic experience like when you went through this type of case that involved your child being taken from one country to another?
Yeah, it was I suppose things like the language barrier in Poland was something that I found quite difficult. I didn't have any big experience in being in a court situation anyway, so being in another jurisdiction, speaking a different language, the use of translators, I found it all quite challenging. I was very, very lucky, as I've said earlier, to have Natalia in my corner, and I really remember our translator as well, Jacek, was a huge help as well at the time. Just having somebody that I was comfortable with and able to talk with. I guess the issue of taking Antec to Ireland and out of the Polish jurisdiction, and that was always kind of a sticking point in the court. It was always something that, I tried absolutely everything to put everybody at ease with it, but sometimes there's just personalities involved, and people, just don't seem to get where you're coming from at times. But you just have to keep with it. My big thing as well with Antec was 1.5 years old when we separated, so it was the language issue. Again, coming back to that, not just in the court, but it was satisfying the court that if I did take him out of the jurisdiction, that he would be able to understand me, that he would be able to be cared for correctly. If we had some really good people in our corner. Monica Prakowska, child psychologist, had met with me, had done a lot of work, helping satisfy the court and everybody else involved in the case that this was something that was in Antec's best interest. Get him out of Poland to Ireland, where he was a citizen of the country here as well, and to speak the English language like a native, which he does now. So there was quite a few challenges along the way, but we got there.
Thank you for saying that, and thank you for mentioning me again. I think that your determination is like a huge example for everybody who would be going through a similar kind of circumstances. But what I also wanted to say, what helped in your case from my perspective, was that you were very humble. You were not showing that you were coming from a better land, a better condition, even though it would seem so. We were having this dispute in a very little court somewhere in Poland, and some things were really difficult. Even the judge not understanding English at all, and everything that was going there was needed to go through translations. And I don't know if you recall, we also went through psychologist evaluation, where you needed to appear with your own interpreter. And surprise, surprise, it went all well. It went so much better for you than for the other party. What can you say about that from this perspective? Let me recall you also, you going to the preschool to speak with the people, and going through all these difficult moments, not understanding the language. What was helpful to you?
Yeah, it was usually frustrating at times, being blunt about it. I do recall the state psychologist that eventually we were able to get in front of. I do know that we fought very hard to get in front of these people a long time, and they did. They absolutely supported everything that I was saying in the court. They supported exactly what I was trying to put forward. They fully recognized that, really at my core was my son's well-being. And it's actually only recently I was going through the court files, and I found that the Roddick report, as I always called it, Natalia, and it was usually difficult. If you remember, my parents actually appeared there as well, and it was in a very, very rundown area of Warsaw. We had to appear in this state-run psychological evaluation center, I suppose is the way to put it, for children, and it was just a hugely difficult experience. And my parents were fantastic as well. Antec was their only grandchild at the time, and they were fantastic help and fantastic support. And, you know, for them, people in their 50s at the time, to travel to a country where they didn't speak the language and, you know, appear with a translator in front of these people that have your relationship with your grandchild, or for me, my child, in the palm of their hands. But yeah, those people got me. They got my family. I think, yes, we are from a very humble background. We're fishing people. We're fishing family in a very small town in Southern Ireland, and you know, it was just nice to be able to finally have that vindication. I think that people really got that, you know, I wasn't a bad guy. I wasn't trying to, you know, put on a false front. We got there, but things like the preschool as well, it was extremely challenging navigating things like that, where if you wanted to go and find out about your son's well-being, you had to bring a translator with you. But look, Antec is doing great. That's the most important thing now. That's the way I look at it. And it's tough to think about these things, actually, to be honest, because in many ways I had closed off all of that. There were some very, very difficult days, and, you know, there was many days we came out of that court knockbox where, you know, you're on the floor, you're at your lowest. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got there, and you just have to keep plugging along. And I would, you know, you need good people in your corner too, though. That's one thing I would highly recommend to people that find themselves in a similar situation to me is get good people in your corner. Get good people in your corner, because you need to have the right people to navigate the landscape. I had no idea about courts, family law, anything like that in Poland, and you know, I just had the right people in my corner at the time, and having the right people, determination, perseverance, you'll get there. I think they're the things that are key.
So, running by good people, you mean good legal counsel, good lawyers, and your family, right?
Yeah, I do. I certainly mean good legal counsel. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I had actually been to visit another lawyer in Warsaw prior to meeting Natalia, and basically they told me you're done. There's nothing you can do here. And obviously, I met somebody by chance in a hotel I was staying in, who said, I can help you. I can put you in touch with somebody. And following day, they rang me back and they said, look, somebody's going to call you from this office. And it was Natalia's office. And, you know, I always think about what would have happened if I didn't have that chance meeting. I'm not so sure I would have had the right people in my corner, and I'm not so sure I would have had the results I have now. I do question whether, you know, my son would be speaking English, whether he would have spent the time here with me if I just hadn't that chance meeting. And to be fair with Natalia, she knew all the right moves to make, knew all the right people. So legal counsel and having the right people, you know, expertise in the family law area, not just, you know, there's many people, I'm sure, in your own countries there where general lawyers, it was somebody that knew exactly what to do. But I always remember, Natalia, you said to me so often, you have to think about Antec. Antec is the main stay here. Forget about your pride. Forget about your you know, in many ways, probably your ego, put it to bed, do what's right for your son, try and get on with things. I always remember as well, one thing I always took was when you used to stand up in court every one of those times and say, we're here and we're ready to mediate, we're here and we're ready to talk. And every time we did that, except the last court appearance we had, the answer from Antec's mother and her counsel was, no, we don't want to do that. But I would always recommend as well, I just wished we had talked properly years before we actually did. Would have saved everybody a lot of needless emotional baggage, I guess, at this stage is one way of putting it. But look, we got there. I think, you know, you have to talk. People should talk, and just think about your kids and think about what's really right for them, and sit down and talk and try and do what's best for them.
Yeah, so speaking about mediation, as you just mentioned a second ago, what was your experience like in mediation, and is it something that you recommend that people go through? And just real quick, we only have about a minute left.
Yeah, I guess we didn't we didn't have any mediation. I remember when we went to the family psychologist as well. They offered kind of mediation there. Antec's mother wasn't up for doing that at the time. It was only really when we kind of exhausted all avenues, we had to go down and meet the psychologist. They produced a report where I felt very much vindicated in my stance, and they were good for me, bad for her, and there was no choice but sit down and talk and come up with a comprehensive plan for Antec's future thereafter.
So, Ronan, thank you so much for that. It's not that you also personally just, touched me with everything you were saying, but I do believe your story is like a Hollywood's movie story. That with your perseverance, with being consistent, with showing everybody your love to your child, this is what I remember so well, when you were saying that how much you love your son and how important he is to you and your family. With all of that, you were able to get your beloved son being truly bilingual, living in both countries, in both languages, in both families, and this is a great success of you personally. And with that, I really wanted to thank you, Ronan. Thank you for sharing all of that. And we'll welcome everybody into a short break.
Le invita a su servidor Javier Solórzano a que todas las noches en Heraldo Televisión esté con nosotros entre las 21 horas y las 22 horas del centro en Referente. Estamos informando, tratando de que usted tenga todas las piezas de este rompecabezas informativo cotidiano a través de Referente. Lo esperamos, Heraldo Televisión, Referente, 21 a 22 horas. Javier Solórzano.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
Stop and think. How often do you take the time to set goals? And when you set those goals, how often do you hit them? The problem is the word goal setting. We all have goals, but goals are just wishes. Goals are what we want. What we really need is called result setting. My name is Katrin Becker, and what I do is create tailor-made result plans that ensure people will hit their targets. If you are committed for real results, let's chat and see which program is right for you and your team. Goals are just what we want, but together, results are what we will achieve.
Hello, my name is Charles Sanders, and I'm a personal injury attorney with the Rose Sanders Law Firm, based in Texas and with offices in Houston, Dallas, McAllen, and El Paso. We assist individuals throughout the entire state who have suffered harm due to the negligence of another person. With my experience as an insurance adjuster, I understand and I know exactly how to counter the strategies employed by insurance companies, and I'm bringing this knowledge to you. We handle a wide variety of situations ranging from car accidents to defamation and unsafe property conditions. We are here to provide support and legal representation at no cost to you. Call us today at 713-221-3773.
Welcome after a short break to continue with some more on the international family law topics. We are having a very special guest today, a Mexican attorney who is practicing in his original country, but of course speaks English and will be interviewed in English for this piece of the show, Carlos Alvarado, with a vast experience covering the entire Mexico, and most of that also the international aspects of family law. Welcome, Carlos. It's great to see you, and thank you for agreeing to be with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Carlos, good to have you. And I understand that you and Natalia have connected by way of Mexico. Natalia was just in Mexico recently at Cancun for the Family Law Conference. And were you there as well?
Yes.
Yes.
I was there.
Very, very small world, but in your all's connection, she's told me a lot of incredible things about you and what you do. So give us some insights into being a lawyer in Mexico. It's not every day. As an attorney who works in Texas primarily, I deal with lawyers all over the world. But it's not every day we meet people who are on the ground, day to day, working in the Mexican court systems. But can you tell us a little bit about where you're situated, the courts that you go through? Just give us a little taste of just being a lawyer in Mexico.
Sure thing. First of all, it's so beautiful to be an attorney in Mexico. And one of the beauty of the practice in Mexico is when you get your law degree, you can litigate in the whole country. In America, you have to have your license by state. And then if you want to litigate in federal court, as far as I know, you have to get another license. In Mexico, with a license, you can practice law in the whole country, which is our case. We litigate in the whole country because the law that we practice. Also, we don't need a specific license to litigate in federal court. With the same license, you can practice federal law in federal court, even the Supreme Court, and you can litigate in the whole country. By saying this, we are very fortunate to travel around the whole Mexico, the whole Mexican state. We litigate in the south, in the center, in the middle of the country, in the north, and thanks to the law that we practice, which is international law, we have connection with several lawyers from other countries, such Natalia. I was telling Natalia, I think we met in The Hague back in 2014, and now we are handling a case together from Mexico to Poland.
And it's my great pleasure to work with you, Carlos. You have proven to be a very efficient lawyer, someone who was brave enough to come to Poland and to spend a few weeks there to investigate for your international case. And I wanted to ask you, being a Mexican lawyer, when you are there and having international clients, what pieces of advice, of general advice about the Mexican law you give them, just per introduction? What do they need to know? What do they need to be prepared for if they are to litigate something in the Mexican courts?
Well, we interview the clients, and obviously there is many questions, especially there is a lot of concerns on the Mexican legal system, talking about corruption. It's very sad that they have that picture of the Mexican legal system. And I will tell always to the clients, okay, I cannot, say no, but in our law firm, we don't face that kind of issues. We are very happy to litigate. We don't do corruption stuff. We don't do corruption things. I cannot deny there are some court that it may be corruption, but you gotta trust your law firm. And obviously I gotta tell them, you gotta be patient, because obviously when someone contacts your lawyer is in the desperate, mood. They wanna have results very quick, and you have to prepare your client to be patient and to trust your law firm and to trust the advice given by us. Especially because most of our clients live in a different jurisdiction, in a different country, different culture, different language, etc., etc., etc.
Yes, and Carlos, what type of cases are you primarily doing? It's interesting, the whole discussion about corruption versus non-corruption, and I'm glad to hear that your law firm is one of the good ones. But what kind of law are you mainly doing these days?
Well, basically, it's international family law, and the majority of our cases are related to the Hague Convention. When a mom or dad illegally retain a kid in Mexico, or just decide to adopt the kid from other country to Mexico, or from Mexico to other country. So that's we call the Hague Convention, the Hague cases. So that's pretty much. The good thing about our law firm, I am a master in law in human rights and legal remedy called amparo. And I think this is a legal remedy, very, very specific and special in Mexico, which you can fight against any authority by using federal court. But it's a little complicated, but it's a very, very good tool to use it in all the cases, especially in the CAT cases. And we just submit another case to the Supreme Court, a CAT Convention case specifically.
And it's interesting because Mexico is a huge country. I don't think that everybody is actually aware how big it is. You said it's 32 states. Each of them has a separate legal system. But you also said that recently there is a plan that a new procedure comes into force, which is a procedure that will be unified for the entire state of Mexico. Tell us please something about it, how it is to practice in a country when you have 32 legal systems, you are still entitled to practice everywhere and go everywhere, and what will be unifying all of that is just the procedure, the same procedure all around the country.
Well, the House just approved a national code, civil and family national code, how to litigate cases in the whole country, which is very good for us. So this, by saying this, you can go any country, any state, and you can utilize the same civil and family process code, but the material doesn't change. It's just how to litigate a case. But we are going to still having 32 different family and civil codes, but only one in how to litigate the cases, how to process the cases, which is good. You know, in penal, penal law, criminal law, we have one national process code. Now we have civil and family national process code, which is very good. And it's very recently, it's just from, I would say maybe a month and a half ago, they just published, and now all the courthouses from these 32 states, they have to do some adjustment, and they have to construct oral courthouses. So it's going to take some time, but it's a very good reform to the law.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And so we have about 3 minutes left. Could you go a little bit into your interactions with the U.S. And our legal system? You talked a little bit before in the beginning about what you know about it, and you're actually correct. We have 50 different state laws. We have 50 different family codes we have to deal with. And so I'm licensed only in Texas and Florida, for example. And then, of course, if you want to do work before the federal courts, you also have to get a certificate. No other exams needed, but you have to still do that. But from where you are looking at us in the U.S., what's been your impressions?
Well, I used to work at the Mexican consulate in Seattle, Washington. So once I left the Mexican consulate, I was working for 2 different law firms in Washington State, specifically in Seattle, Washington. That gives me, a little approach to the legal system in the States. I learned, you have to be licensed in Washington, then you have to be licensed in California if you want to litigate it. To me, I think the way we handle that licensing, it's better because you got your degree as a Mexican lawyer, not as a lawyer from Guanajuato state. That degree, that license is issued by a federal government, and that gives you more options to get more clients, to handle cases in different jurisdictions inside the inside the Mexican territory. But something that I really like from you guys, it's the bar associations, because that bar association supervise you guys, and you can get, or you can lose your license if you do wrongful things, you know. And in Mexico, it's not that easy. You know, you can report a lawyer, and the lawyer, I mean, you got to be sued in a civil court, and then you have a lot of things to defend yourself or to make excuses. It's not easy to retire the license for a Mexican lawyer in the States. I really like that if you don't wrongful, you can lose your license very, very quick. So I like that.
And Carlos, thank you for this part of the interview. We are looking forward to having you after the break to talk a little bit about our common, for all three of us, field of expertise, which is international child abduction. And we'll see you after a short break.
Sure thing.
Hey, this is Michael Rager, the host of Biz Talk TV with Michael Rager. Make sure you join us every day, 5 p.m. Central Time on all NowMedia channels and social media platforms.
Bienvenidos a Imperio Bar Houston, el bar más vibrante de Downtown en la ciudad de Houston. En Imperio, la fiesta nunca para. Nuestro DJ de clase mundial te mantendrá bailando toda la noche con la mejor música de hoy y de siempre. Además, aquí encontrarás las mejores bebidas y cócteles. En Imperio, nuestro ambiente electrizante y nuestro equipo amigable te asegurarán una noche que nunca olvidarás. Te esperamos de 9:30 a 2 de la mañana. Imperio, donde la diversión nunca se detiene.
Hi, my name is Elias Basabe, founder of Little Maria's Cafe Restaurant in West Houston, located in 2901 Wilkers Drive, Suite 137, first floor. Here you will find a family-friendly and relaxed environment where you can enjoy a delicious homemade breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We know you need to get to work fast, and we want you to enjoy a tasty, quality, and healthy homemade food. So come and visit us for a great nutritious meal at an affordable price. We specialize in tasty breakfasts, deli sandwiches, fish, even barbecue cookouts. Little Maria's Cafe has it all. We only use the great quality of bird's head meats and products. Just like you, we love to get you up early. Little Maria's Cafe is open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can dine in with us during breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or we can have it ready for you for pickup. Visit us today on the first floor of the CMPC Center at 2901 Wilkers Drive, Suite 137, first floor. Order now at 832-667-8376, Little Maria's Cafe.
Working through the legal system is challenging and risky, especially if you don't have the right attorney at your side. Hi, my name is Sonia Aston, and I'm an attorney with over 30 years of experience. I've helped small and medium-sized businesses and business owners to make sure that their legal rights and interests are protected. As general counsel for you and your organization, I can draft and review solid contracts, minimize the risk of litigation, review and prepare comprehensive business succession plans, or help you navigate your company with the local, state, and federal government. Take a decisive step today. I'm here to make sure your legal rights are protected and you have a peace of mind that you deserve.
Tell me, are you looking to sell a house or buy a home? Hi, I'm Michelle Briggs, and your real estate needs are my priority. With over 2 decades worth of experience within the real estate industry, I know I can help. Whether you're selling a house and moving on to the next chapter or buying a home to create generational wealth for your family, I am the realtor for you. Call me now at 713-2 256-5465 and let me handle all of your real estate needs.
Welcome again after a short break, and again with us, Carlos Alvarado, who is a Mexican lawyer, but who also wants to share with us something out of his personal expertise that influenced his legal career. And Carlos, welcome back. Great to have you again.
Thank you very much.
Carlos, before we hear your personal story, just a little bit of a backdrop. So you focus primarily on international child relocation cases and dealing with the Hague Convention, for example, on international child abduction. And so it's something that Natalia, you, myself, we're all familiar with because we've had to deal with cases where a child was taken from one country, moved to another, or vice versa. And so it's a fascinating area. Many people aren't familiar with it, obviously, because it doesn't happen to them. But a lot of times, if you live in an international city like Houston, or if you are a world traveler and you get married to somebody who is from a different culture or country from you, a lot of times this kind of thing can happen where children are moved around. And then lawyers like us have to get involved to try to bring the child back or to enforce parental rights. But why you? Why is this area of law so fascinating to you? How do you get into it? What would you share with us?
First of all, I was working at the Mexican consulate back in 2000, and it was a little funny. I remember one morning, my boss, the consul, said, Carlos, there is some guy from your city, indeed, from León, Guanajuato. He's asking for some support for some international matter. Can you please go to the federal court and at least present yourself to this guy and tell him that you are representing the Mexican consulate just to support him? I said, yeah, sure thing. So I went to that federal court and surprise, the father who was asking to return his children to Mexico was my law student, some years, some years early. This happened in 2000. I taught him law, I would say maybe in 1995. So it was funny when we saw each other at the federal court, and I said, what are you doing here? And he said, Mr. Alvarado, I kind of know that you were in Seattle, but it's so weird. Now you're representing the Mexican consulate and you are going to help me. Well, I told him, I'm here to give you any kind of assistance on the consular view, but I cannot litigate your case. I don't have experience in the Hague Convention, indeed. But if they ask me any question regarding like a civil Mexican law or things in Mexico regarding the law, I can help you with that. So I spent the whole day there in federal court listening at the case, and that inspired me. And that inspired me because I say, that was me. Those children, it was me and my brother. Exactly. So, and starting that, I started litigating these particular international cases, the Hague Convention cases. So. And
I wanted to bring the attention of the audience to the fact what this international child abduction really is. So, and why it is so important. It is so important because there is an international legal instrument to bring the children back to the country from either where they were taken from or to bring them back to the country of the origin when they are retained. For example, going on vacation to family members and then they stay there. This instrument is efficient. This instrument is the same in all the countries. This is why we can actually, all of us being here, me, Polish lawyer, Mac, Texas and Florida lawyer, and you, Carlos, being Mexican lawyer, we can talk about the same piece of law, which to me is an international convention. I know that in the States it has been implemented into the internal law, but just to warn the public, whenever you are thinking that you are just going abroad with the child and it's all going to be fine, no, it's not going to be fine. There is an instrument to bring the children back. However, Carlos, you have your personal interesting story which you would want to share that actually influenced you to dedicate yourself to this particular area of law. Please tell us something about it.
Sure, exactly. Back in 1974, my dad lived in the States with not proper documents to live there. We were living in Leon with my mother, and they agreed to send my brother, my oldest brother, and myself to Chicago with my dad to live there for 1 year, just to get to know a little bit about the culture, learn a little bit the language. And my mom brought us to America, and we lived with my father for that year. Exactly after the year, I noticed that we were moving from one apartment to other apartment and then to other apartment, and no more calls from my mom. We used to have twice a month at least telephone conversations with my mom. I remember when I asked my dad, I said, Daddy, why mom doesn't call anymore? And he like, I don't know. And then my other question, but Daddy, does my mom knows that we are moving, that we don't live anymore on that old apartment? She knows. Well, that was his side of the story. After a year and a half, I was watching TV, and my brother approached to me and he said, hey, Carlos, we need another player. And I said, I don't want to play. I'm watching TV. Yeah, but we need another player. I said, yeah, but I don't want to play. I'm watching TV. My dad told my brother, hey, Luis, don't bother your brother anymore. Leave him alone. So then my brother whispered and said, don't yell, but mamita means mommy, mother, is down the stairs. So I remember running down the stairs, so excited because finally, after a year and a half, I get to see my mom. I hug my mom, and my mom hugged me, put us, inside the car, myself, my brother, and then she rang the bell. And she said, Daniel, to my dad, I'm leaving my kids, the one you tried to steal from me. So and my dad yelled at her and said, hey, Blanca, wait for me, I'm coming downstairs. Obviously, she didn't wait, run away, and crossed us from the state to Mexico. And it is sad because since 1996, when this incident happened, we don't see my dad anymore. I don't know if he's still alive. By the time, not even the convention exists. So it was 1996. Many times I asked my mom why we cannot call my dad. I don't have his phone number. Why he doesn't contact us? I don't know. It's his choice. And the same story. Are you sure he knows where we are living? He knows the phone, how to contact us? And my mom yeah. Obviously, that wasn't true. So at the end, we clarify this as an adults with my mom, but I always, have something and say, it's not fair that, first of all, he took us, he decided not to return us to Mexico, and then you did the same thing because without any knowledge, you just go to the States and decide to bring us back to Mexico and cut all the contact with my dad. So I think that's part of my personal story about inspiration to handle these cases, because when a client contacts us and say, I want this, and all the stuff is regarding revenge, I always say, I'm not at Avengers. I am an attorney. If you are looking for revenge, we are not a law firm to handle your case. We can handle your case in a good way. It's not revenge. We can handle it, do the right thing. But yeah, it's, I don't want the kids lost contact neither with dad or mom. No, doesn't really matter to us who is fault about the wrongful retention or the abduction. Yeah.
Yes. And Carlos, I can see that what you went through as a child definitely has impacted your present job right now. And so it's good that you're doing such good work, so that, because you've lived it, right? And you've seen both sides, and you understand that when a parent comes to you who might be doing the withholding, or the parent who comes to you who wants to see their child who's been taken away from them, you are spot on. And so I believe one of the points of The Hague is that you have to act fast. You only have 1 year to make sure you file your application to the other country's central authority. And so all of these things that you have went through yourself definitely prepares you to help your clients in an incredible way. So we only got a couple minutes left. Natalia, do you want to follow up with anything?
Yes, I wanted to thank you, first of all, Carlos, for presenting your story. I think that with your own example, you were showing what sort of damage. I could feel the sadness in you when you were saying that first you were deprived of the contact with your mom and then with your dad. That left a trace definitely on your life, and this is something what the parents are on many occasions just unaware of. And having listened to this story, I really need to say that I would want to continue talking with you about it. I thank you so much for saying all of that and sharing all of it. And I hope to have you in our next episode to talk more about the Hague Convention, more about your work, what you do within the States. And once again, it's been great having you. And thank you for being with us.
All right. Thank you so much. And until next time, this is Legal Talk with Natalia and Mac.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
This has been a NowMedia television feature presentation. All rights reserved.
¿Sueñas con vender tus productos o servicios en Estados Unidos? Pareciera muy difícil, mas no es imposible. Soy Edmundo Treviño y quiero compartir contigo más de 20 años de experiencia promoviendo productos latinoamericanos en el principal mercado del mundo. Si quieres aprender más, sígueme en todas mis redes sociales.
Hey, Lily says AT&T's giving everyone their best deals.
Minus the air quotes.
Best deals.
No need to wink. Others say they give everyone a deal, but not everyone gets the best deal.
Told you, the best deals are for everyone here, with a choice of plans.
You were right.
Is she always right?
Always.
At AT&T, we give everyone our best deals on every smartphone.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio, y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
La mejor información nacional e internacional llega ahora a los Estados Unidos con NowMedia, de las 7 a las 10 de la mañana de lunes a viernes. Guadalupe Juárez y Sergio Sarmiento estamos en NowMedia Television en una colaboración con el Heraldo Media Group.
Hello, my name is Charles Sanders, and I'm a personal injury attorney with the Rose Sanders Law Firm, based in Texas and with offices in Houston, Dallas, McAllen, and El Paso. We assist individuals throughout the entire state who have suffered harm due to the negligence of another person. With my experience as an insurance adjuster, I understand and I know exactly how to counter the strategies employed by insurance companies, and I'm bringing this knowledge to you. We handle a wide variety of situations ranging from car accidents to defamation and unsafe property conditions. We are here to provide support and legal representation at no cost to you. Call us today at 718.